As much as I attempted to refrain from casting shade over false advertising of some streaming services, I cannot remain silent any longer. So let's get to it. What prompted me to do this video is that the same day that I released the video last week talking of which is better, physical media or streaming services, I got an email from Hulu at around 5:20, 5:30 p.m. titled, "We're updating our service agreement." Upon opening the email, I encountered what is by far the most egregious action a company can take to restrict a user's access to a service they pay for. Quote, "We're adding limitations on sharing your account outside of your household and explaining how we may assess your compliance with these limitations." While I understand the desire to restrict account sharing, and I use that term loosely, as if the account I pay for permits for two simultaneous users, and I wish to share the second user with someone, considering I pay for two users, it is my prerogative to decide with whom I share my account. As long as I do not exceed that two-term limitation, I am well within my rights. Now, at least Hulu, and I'm sure others will follow suit, they will determine based on my IP address, which is, I'm guessing, the only way that they have to determine what your main household is. What if I decide to move? Why should Hulu care if my physical address changes? It is none of their business. It is none of the business of any of these streaming services what my physical address is. If I keep paying you, what do you care? I pay for the service ahead of time. You pay to have access to that entire month thereafter. It's not like I'm paying for the month before like sometimes you do with cable. You're paying for the month ahead. Also, even if I don't move but I decide to switch internet providers, the IP address will change. Why should I be making decisions of whether I'm going to stick with a certain internet provider or not based on my streaming services? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it's none of their damn business, honestly. I'm sorry about... I try not to do anything that is slightly near cursing, but it's really upsetting. It's really, really upsetting. And I have, for those of you that maybe doubt that or say that these companies are doing the right thing, I have one example for you. Single parent with a dependent, that dependent goes off to college and they stay in their dorm room. I don't know about cases anywhere else in the world, but at least in Puerto Rico, dorm rooms were houses that were adjusted or, redesigned. The inside was redesigned to turn it into a dorm room. That's a different IP address if they have their own internet in that household. I'm still complying with the two people using it simultaneously. Why should I have to pay for another account just for my child who is staying far away from me in their dorm to study, to go to college? If he has a night off or whatever and he wants to watch something, why should I have a different subscription for that? I'm still complying with the two-person limit. I understand these, there are people that share it among 3 people and they text each other, don't use it now because I'm going to use it now, or I'm using it now, I'm still using it, etc., etc., etc. That I may get. But again, and don't tell me this is not true, you have the access to know when 3 people sign in and start watching things for the slightest millisecond. You have access to that information. So don't tell me that based on what the agreement is right now, you cannot either decide to unanimously close their account because of sharing or not complying with the user agreement, or automatically changing their agreement to a tier that is going to comply with the amount of people that have used it for that millisecond. Because again, when you guys make your user agreement, you do it to your benefit, not to the user's benefit. You know you do it to yours. So I'm pretty sure that is in there somewhere and that you can do that. I want to make it clear that once again, I have nothing against companies making a profit. But if the terms state two simultaneous users, it is then up to the user to decide who the second user will be. And once again, the example of a college student is the perfect illustration of why this policy is completely anti-consumer or anti-consumer, however you want to call it. Now, Hulu on their corporate page states in a large paragraph, it says, quote, both in and outside the home. Apple proudly promotes, and by the way, I have not had any issue with Apple. Watch Apple TV Plus anywhere on the Apple TV app. And even Netflix boasts, watch anywhere. Yet gradually they will begin restricting access outside the home, thereby defeating the entire purpose of streaming services being superior to cable. All by their own doing. This is all, they're shooting themselves in the foot. This is all they're doing. And I believe that this is going to become the vicious cycle. Cable prices go down. Streaming services get greedy. People will say, well, if I can only use it at home, I might as well watch cable, even though it has limited access to things, but at least it's cheaper. Then these companies will realize what they did. They will come back down. Cable has a lot of users. They will increase their prices, and this will be a back and forth. Probably it will take like 15 years or something like that between the switch from each one to the next, because they are that stupid that they don't realize their mistakes while they're doing it. They have to make sure that, you know, this is going really bad for us to really do something about it. You know, just how like genius some companies are. To the point that there was something that I forgot to include on the previous video, which was from PlayStation. PlayStation, you had an issue a while ago that they had content from Discovery, I believe it was. You should be watching it right now on screen. And they said that they were going to completely remove it even if you paid for the movie or the episode of whatever you purchased. And this is different. This is not streaming where I can only watch while I pay for the service. This is, you have this content, I bought this episode, I pay for it the same way that you would a physical movie, only that it will stay on your servers for me to be able to watch whenever I want. And this is the problem that I think, the biggest problem why I think that physical media will never disappear, especially considering what these companies are doing now. They will remain, physical media will remain because it's a better alternative. I prefer wasting physical space than giving Sony or any of these other companies the free will for them to say, you know what, remember this movie you purchased? We're not going to give you access to it anymore. We're just going to erase it from our service. We're not giving you back the money either. Don't expect to get your money back because for years you had access to it. But we're just removing it just because we feel like it. We don't feel like paying the rights to have this available anymore. You should have thought about that before you started selling it, honestly. You should have thought about that before you started selling it. And I hope that these will open these companies' eyes. Because, again, I understand you need to make your money. I get it. But I'm pretty sure you're making a lot of money. Nobody keeps a service or a company running if it doesn't give you money, if it doesn't pay off. Nobody does it. So anyways, I hope that they reconsider and they go back to doing things the right way. If only 2 people are using it, it shouldn't matter what the household is. That is the stupidest word I've ever heard. What the household on a streaming service. You know, so you're limiting me to watching it on my home or cell phone. What if I stay at a family member's place for on vacation or something, and I want to use their internet so I can get better quality of the content that I'm going to watch on your streaming service? You're telling me that I cannot use their service? That I have to let you know if I go on vacation somewhere? I pay you for the service. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyway, leave a comment down below if you agree with me, don't agree with me, if you didn't agree with me. But as soon as I said either the example of going on vacation to a family member's home or the example that I gave of having a kid go to college, if all of a sudden that opened your eyes and you said, wow, you know, now that I think about it, I never thought about it that way. But now that you mentioned that, yeah, you know what, this is kind of this is going kind of bonkers over here. Anyways, leave a comment down below. While you're down there, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notified when we have new videos. The only way you can do that is if you're signing with your Gmail account to YouTube, either on your app or on your favorite browser on youtube.com. Search for us at J.R. Abrams Tech. That's the only way that you can leave that like. That is very important. So please, if you like the video, smash that like button. As always, we're available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously X, and obviously YouTube at J.R. Abrams Tech, so you can stay up to date with the latest news or rumors about tech. Until next time.